And we are live in the yet another umbraCoffee. I'm alone today in my studio, so I'm still waiting for anyone to create a version of a replacement of this green background to something else. But no, I'm not tempting anyone to do that. Callum is in Norway, enjoying the NDC Oslo, and I'm joined today by two amazing guys from our Umbraco community, Frans de Jong and Dan Booth, not Diplo.
I'm quite happy to be called Diplo.
Yeah, hi guys, how are you? Hi, Dan. All good?
Yeah, I'm good. Apart from, as I just mentioned to you earlier, I had to go for an X-ray on my knee because of my really extreme sports things I do. No,
Yeah.
that's not true. I'm just getting old.
Yeah, thanks for joining us and making this time. And Frans, how are you? How was your week? Busy?
Yeah, it's a busy week. I'm working a lot, but yeah, it's my hobby working with Umbraco, so it's fine to do your hobby on a daily basis. That's
And it's great to see you being more and more involved and shouting about your results of your work. So that's amazing things to see. And let me maybe share my screen because we have gathered some of the things which happened during this week. And I wanted to start from this amazing picture of Callum enjoying Norway Umbraco meetup, Oslo Umbraco meetup with great representatives from Market's partner Lars and the rest of the community. And yeah, that's a great time. Callum was talking yesterday on NDC. I don't know how it went yet, but hopefully it was great. I always dreamed about joining NDC conference. Guys, did you attend any of the NDC series maybe?
I haven't, no, though. I can say yesterday I was actually co-hosting the Umbraco Liverpool meetup yesterday. So,
oh yeah. Can you tell us more about it? How was it yesterday?
It was fine. Yeah, I mean, it's quite a small turnout. I mean, there's only about 10 of us, but it was me and Jackie. Jax. So basically, we're just talking about Codegarden. I think I somehow managed to ramble on for about an hour and a half.
Nice.
But because it's like both of our first time, so we're just talking about our experience there and how it was, and what a great time we had. So that was good. But yeah, we're trying to make sure Umbraco Liverpool gets a bit more regular. So Jax is kind of taking over the organisation, so hopefully we'll be doing that more regularly. So, yep, anybody wants to come to Umbraco Liverpool, sign up on the meetup page.
Yeah, awesome. And Frans, you've also been attending Codegarden, and we've been talking before going live that you felt the spirit so much that during the way back home, you've created a lot of pull requests for Umbraco itself, right?
Yeah, my first two pull requests for the Umbraco CMS were done from the back of the DUUG mobile. It was a great drive with Arnold and Danny back home in the beautiful stickered car, which is ridiculous. With what Arnold does every year, but it's great to say that I committed two pull requests from the back seat of that car before my battery went dead. So
yeah, let's share them. We will be of course listing them in the description of this video. And can you tell us more about how you've spotted those issues and was it easy to fix them, basically?
Yeah, this was an issue that I spotted by accident, and it broke my entire site. That was an issue in Umbraco when you delete. I think everybody uses dictionary items as folders, which is maybe wrong, but it structures it a little bit. And when you delete a folder, and then the child still exists, and the back office goes blank. So I did a simple check for if they had any children and removed them. It was an easy fix, but it's those fixes that make Umbraco better for the future. And it was great to be able to help in it.
How did you find kind of working with Umbraco? Kind of the whole. If it's your first request, was it quite difficult, or is the documentation pretty good now?
For V8?
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's not complete. That's a good way of saying it. So I just dove into the source, and if you are familiar with the sections in Umbraco, and how Angular talks with the code, then you'll find out where it is fairly easy. And I really like the search functionality over the entire project. That gives you a lot of information you need. So that's how I found it in the end.
Nice.
Cool.
The hardest thing was to get Umbraco running locally, because there's some stuff in there that I never use. So yeah, that's the first thing to do to get it running.
Yeah, that's often the hardest thing. I find that as well. Once you actually got it running, you're okay. But it's kind of that was an issue. I think there is some document. I think Seb has made somewhere knocking around. So it's just just a case of finding it, isn't it? Like always.
Yeah, you have to fire up a task to rebuild the front end, and that's something
Yes.
that I'm not familiar with. So that was the hardest task. And
I find the same. Yeah, I think for us back enders, all the front end build tasks are kind of like a bit daunting, aren't they?
Yeah, we've been talking about Grant before going live as well, and I remember that this task was integrated in the build process of Umbraco itself. So it's happening, but sometimes you just need to wait for it to happen, to restore everything, and then you are rebuilding, and it's just working. So yeah, it's all about documentation, but it's fine that it's so there are so many issues where you can help, and all the rest which we've showed, they were related with some viewports and widths of windows. And whenever anyone is just joining or seeing Umbraco for the first time, they are always spotting those issues. Sometimes they are not able to fix them, but whenever it's getting reported, it's highlighted, and hopefully someone will pick it up, even from the back of the DUUG mobile coming home.
Yeah, that's one of the things I started on this year too. Is if I find an issue, to actively put it in the issue tracker, even if I don't know where it's originating or how to fix it. Just put the issue in the issue tracker, so everybody knows it's there, and maybe some smart guy can pick it up and fix it for you. For everybody, if you can't.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, Frans, because you don't have to be a developer to contribute in that way. Anybody, if you spot an issue, you don't have to be able to fix it. As long as just flagging an issue is the first step in towards a fix. So it's really important. Everybody, it's very easy just to go, I've got this issue and not be bothered. But just spend a little bit of time. And I think it's a lot easier now on GitHub as well than it used to be on the old track.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I encourage everyone to do that.
Let's maybe use this this topic as an opportunity to dive into another issue, which is living on GitHub for a while, and it's all related with accessibility of Umbraco back office. We've been highlighting this work and this discussion many times, but this week it got a really nice input from someone who is a blind developer, and was doing some testing of Umbraco back office on the latest version. The developer is named Florian. I cannot pronounce this last name correctly, probably, so I won't be trying. But he was playing with Umbraco 8 and reported some issues which are spotted by him doing the normal work with the CMSs and the web as a blind developer. So it's great input, and once again a lot of issues being highlighted and just discovered by someone who is really looking for accessibility improvements. And it's great to, as you've said, just to highlight them, to list them, and right now we'll let Umbraco and community pick it up and convert to real tasks and improvements of CMS. But thanks to inputs like that, it's getting there, because not everyone can spot those issues, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's some really good discussions at Codegarden. Tiffany did a great talk, and I think she's followed that up by a blog post on Scrift. Yep. It's well worth reading and actually watching her talk as well. I think it's not just Umbraco related either. It's not just for the Umbraco backend where accessibility is important. It's also, anybody who's building a website really needs to take that into account, because, one thing about the Umbraco community is we try and be inclusive, but that, accessibility is part of that inclusivity. So it's really important. But there's some really good discussions at Codegarden, and I think people are taking note, and as we can see, making a lot of changes. So I think it's really positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other thing which was also a kind of contribution which we've missed last week was the work done by Laura and some other community members around a new flow of editing data types and properties. I don't know, guys, if you've seen that.
Yeah.
That's a great addition, because it highlights more if you reuse a property editor or create a new one, and it's something I find in every project that there are so many double property types that could have been one and could have been maintained very easily, but now we have them spread over the same functionality, and that's just horrible. And in this way, it's so much clearer what you're doing. Reuse one, or if you really must, create a new one, and that's a better choice than just do something you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it's one of those kind of simple little changes that can make a lot of difference. Though there did seem to be some kind of pushback from Niels on that. I don't know if you saw his tweets.
Yes,
kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing was that they were starting prototyping almost at the same time,
Yeah.
and they've came up with the same results, the same approach, which is probably now processed internally with Umbraco, and yeah, hopefully it will get improved and combining it with the community input and some opinions of people who shared responses with Laura in this thread. I'm more than sure that it will result in the great behavior and simplicity at the end, because as you've said, every project, every time whenever we are seeing something done by someone who is maybe not so familiar with the reusing of data types and processes behind the scenes, it's getting there. So hopefully, yeah, the next release.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things to get was kind of discussed is the RFC process. I mean, it's kind of almost relates to this, where people can you don't necessarily have to, do a full mock-up, but you can make discuss these ideas. I think kind of HQ are kind of listening more to the people rather than just saying, here's how it's going to work. I think, listening to how people actually use the Umbraco, because I think as a community and as developers, we're the people who use it all the time. And probably people back at HQ probably are not building websites very often. So, so they really, I think they really could do with our input on how we use it and how editors use it to, actually make the system the best.
Yeah, that's something we discussed in the Dream Corner at Codegarden with Stefan and Arnold. I think it was, what if a developer at the Umbraco once a year calls, Skypes, or goes to an agency and just to look how we use it, because it gives them real great insights on how to prepare Umbraco for how the big agencies use it, and the way they are going right now is to make it easier for people new to Umbraco. But yeah, don't forget about how the power users use it as well, and that's especially this is the case.
But it's also something what is not so easy to flag, because obviously the Umbraco Cloud helped Umbraco company to see how websites are done. But as you've said, not everyone is using Umbraco Cloud, and there are some power companies who don't want to change their approaches, and
exactly.
they are sharing their work only through awards at the moment. So it might be really interesting to see and maybe share more thanks to Umbraco, and help Umbraco understand some of the issues. But guys, you've mentioned the Codegarden and some summaries, dream corners, and stuff like that. And Umbraco also shared a massive blog post, which is gathering everything, basically what happened and what was shared after the event from umbraCoffees, and to links to all the blog posts, tips, and takeaways written by so many community members. And also I've seen the promise from Umbraco that they will be updating this list, and some of the people are still working on their blog posts and summaries and things like that. And it's great to maybe say once again that all the sessions right now are uploaded on YouTube. And if you will go to schedule of Codegarden, you can find both slides and session recordings here, which is also a good for someone who just want to grab the slides and maybe dive into links or resources which were shared there. So I'm still working on finding more time to catch up all the sessions which I missed. You same, guys?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've kind of been going through some of the YouTube things, and sometimes it's fine. You can just kind of listen to them, often. But it's quite nice to have the slides as well to refer to stuff. But yeah, there's so many good talks. You can't go to them all. So yeah, this is a great way of catching up, and yeah.
Yeah, as an addition to slides and things, I know I wanted to just highlight the Callum's scripts, because we've been chatting with Callum about migrating V7 to V8, and as you've said, not everything is possible to be gathered from slides and even from the video. And Callum shared this Golden Gate project, which is not something what probably you've highlighted in the previous umbraCoffees. But if you are migrating V7 to V8, Golden Gate is the place where you can find some scripts and some highlights and information how to do that. But besides that, we've seen some meetups. You've mentioned, Dan, that you've been summing up the Codegarden on your yesterday's meetups. I've seen that Glasgow meetup was also doing some recap of Codegarden, and Neil started a caption contest of one of the pictures from umbraCoffee. I don't know if you've participated and what is to win, but there are some really great answers and ideas here.
Yeah, I hate to think what the prizes might be given.
Yeah, I think that some people may be just afraid to participate in those types of contests because you never know if you won't receive any Lucrece jellies or chili liquid or something. That's very cool. And okay, let's dive to bigger topics, because this week was a really busy week on Umbraco HQ, I presume, because there were 3 new announcements done. 2 new big announcements from Umbraco, and the first of them was about Umbraco 8 bridging courses.
Yeah.
Which created a lot of discussions, and it was a topic which was really often discussed by developers, by companies, by partners. And in this blog post, Andrew summed up the whole process of bridging between V7 certification to V8 certification. And there is also a bridging master bundle, something like that, for everyone who is right now a certified master. And there's a promotion and a discount for everyone who will sign up to bridging courses, which are, by the way, video courses, pre-recorded courses, which can be handled by developers on any moment, basically after buying the access to them. So yeah, that's new thing. One of the things, and second is about changes to Umbraco forms workflows. And I know that there were a lot of discussions on Codegarden itself in the Dream Corner, and also HQ members said about it during the various of the talks itself. And right now it's there. It allows us to queue forms and do a magic with forms using Umbraco deploy, which is still going to be released as a package for everyone who is using Umbraco, not only for the cloud instances. So it's a good movement, I presume, for everyone who was suffering while working with forms, right?
Yeah.
This was on cloud, the final point that made you afraid to push deploy. There's another one. There's the same discussion for dictionary items, which may be content as well, because it's something that editors can access right now. But in my opinion, this is the best way for everything, because our clients create and edit their own forms. So who am I to override them with something I pulled a few months ago? That's something that's strange. So this is a top solution.
There was a Twitter reply from Nathan, if I remember correctly, about plugging in the connectors from your packages to Umbraco deploy itself. And there is a library called Umbraco deploy contrib, if I'm correct. And hopefully, I hope to see more connectors like that. And if there is a logic working with forms or dictionaries or anything else, hopefully there will be an entry point for any package creators to just maybe use their code and work and connectors to transfer stuff by packages itself, which would be really, really awesome, I hope.
Yeah, I think we're probably, a lot of people are going to have to wait until it's kind of not tied to cloud, so we can kind of try it out and see actually be able to test it out and see how it works. But yeah, it'd be great.
I think that will be the momentum for cloud as well. If they release it as standalone, then they can benefit from everything that's built against it.
Yeah.
And one more blog post which was shared by Umbraco HQ is a little bit different. I haven't seen so many technical posts on Umbraco blog recently, but this is about implementation of schema data. And Equator Agency shared their approach, which was also discussed earlier, how they created the schema type, how they use the schema generator, and what is the result of the schema data, which is a really nice insight how other people are doing it, because I was doing it in a different way, basically. But this is.
I was going to say same here, Marcin. I've been a big fan of using schema markup for a long time, but they kind of recently the kind of move towards JSON LD has made it a lot easier, because it kind of separates the schema stuff from your actual HTML markup. So. But it's interesting to see how they did it with the generator. I don't know, the way I've been doing it in the past is I basically found a library on GitHub that would kind of do some of the heavy lifting, and then
same here.
customized it. And so the way I would normally do it is to take my model that I might send to the view and then pass that and basically pass that to some kind of service that would then create a model with the same representation of the schema, and then just transpose that to JSON and then add that to the page. And it seems to work really well. So, but yeah, it's something I definitely would recommend if people are not putting schema stuff in the sites, and yeah, you should do, because it's really useful.
Yeah, I was also reusing the properties which were already in the document type, and here editors have a full control of the schema for every document type, which is probably something what editors finds useful, because they can create any basically schema object from any page, not only the one which is related or possible to be generated from this page. So yeah, I want to see more blog posts like that to have more visibility on how people are approaching same problems, because we are all sharing as much as we can usually to help us doing our work better and better, right?
Yeah. Like you were saying before, there's probably so many agencies out there have got doing some really good stuff, and it's just a case of sharing some of that. I mean, obviously some of it may be commercially sensitive, but I think a lot of it probably is relevant to everyone. So yeah, the more people can share stuff like that, even if it's just ideas or approaches, it doesn't have to be code. It's just pointing people in the right direction.
Exactly. Okay, guys, and let's jump to releases which came out this week, because if you are talking about people sharing their work, this is the best probably example of work being shared. And Anders from Skybrat shared the alpha release of Skybrat social package, which is awesome package to deal with the data coming from any social media and stuff around it. And it's a version which is supported in Umbraco V8. Not all features are there yet, but it's already working. And Kevin Jump released the Translation Manager version 8.1 for Umbraco V8. It was released last Friday. Once again, big high five for everyone who's releasing packages for V8. And I know that a lot of people who are migrating packages to V8 are just diving into the code being shared by Kevin and some other creators and see how it's done. And Dan, maybe you can share more about it, because you are currently working on moving a log viewer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just before that, I was mentioning. Yeah, I mean, Kevin did a talk at the previous Umbraco Liverpool about his experiences kind of moving Translation Manager, which is absolutely amazing. It's probably one of the most impressive Umbraco. I wouldn't even call it a package. It's just such an amazing piece of work.
Solution.
Solution. And it's such a brilliant solution. So that's really impressive. But yeah, as you say, I think Kevin has really been one of the people who's got right in at the code face and faced up to it. And it is difficult. I was really impressed with Kevin, but I been purposely really hanging back a bit from jumping into packages when V8 just came out, because it was so new, and there was at the time little documentation, and I think it's also quite overwhelming when you've got a few packages to kind of know where to start, because people don't perhaps realize how much time and effort goes into making a package. It's not just the coding bit as well. There's a lot of stuff you've got to do. As I was talking to you before, just getting the actual packages into NuGet onto our writing the documentation, which everyone always hates, dealing with all the support requests and stuff. So I wasn't in a great rush to rush into that place, and luckily one of my most popular packages, which was the trace log viewer for 7, I had no need to do, because Warren has already done an amazing job with a new log viewer in 8. So I must admit, I was quite happy not to have to redo that package, but I was really keen to actually dive into Umbraco 8 and have a see. And what I found is with my packages particularly, a lot of them time they were doing quite a lot of low level stuff. So I don't know if you see my Godmo package, but that kind of does quite a lot of low level stuff with all the Umbraco services and stuff. It queries the database, it uses reflection to go over some of the classes and stuff. So and what I realize is in Umbraco 8, a lot has changed internally. It's a lot more than perhaps I expected, because when you look at Umbraco 7, the interface, even though you can see stuff has moved around, it's very familiar to anybody who's used Umbraco 7. But kind of internally, a lot of the services had changed. A lot of the way you connect to the database had changed. Obviously, DI and stuff, and was probably one of the biggest ones. But to be honest, once I got my head around how to register a composer, it wasn't particularly difficult. It's just injecting a service into class, and and really it does actually make it a lot easier once you get your head around the basic concept. So that wasn't difficult. I found connecting to the database a little bit different because it changed quite a bit from Umbraco 7, and there wasn't really much documentation, but I think I had a few tweets with Stefan, and he kind of pointed me in the right direction. And I think I had a quick talk with Kev as well. And so once I got that working, it wasn't too bad, but I did find at a low level some of the database tables had actually changed, which again, what I wasn't really expecting. So and I also, with my log viewer, so my audit log viewer was the one that used to be able to see the results of the Umbraco log table, which is something a lot of people probably don't look at, but it kind of logs every change. So every time you publish, every time you save, even every time you save a document type, that all gets logged in that table. But there's no way to view that through the Umbraco interface. But I also found there's a new table that had been added, an actual table called audit, which kind of lists things like when a user changes their password, or when you change somebody else's password, all that gets logged. So what I'm going to do in my new view is also have all that accessible and searchable. So if you want to see that the admin changed such and such user's password on this particular date, or somebody failed to log in on this date, all that data is recorded, but you can't view it. So that was kind of the basic theory around the package. So it's pretty much done now. I just need to, I think I was talking to you earlier about getting the build process right, so I can spit out the right packages. I think maybe the format's changed slightly in Umbraco 8, so I need to look into that, but it's getting there, yeah. So
it's getting there.
Yeah.
That's good, because it's on our must-have list of packages on almost every installation. So so we are keeping fingers crossed for making it done. And share your damn.
Whoa.
Broke something. Share your journey, because it will definitely help for all the package creators. And Matt Bransford left the message right now on our live chat that there is no real point doing V8 package dev till at least 8.1. That's all about making the consistent way of keeping the code base. And we all know that there will be some kind of major changes to some of the services. So it's good to explore how it's done right now. It's good to be ready for V8, but it's coming to the version where we will probably be more safe of writing any type of code. And everyone, you and Kevin Jump and some other great package creators already proved that it's not so painful to migrate, but it's also possible. So that's good to see that.
I think sometimes you got to approach it as almost starting from scratch again, as a clean slate, even though you can obviously reuse. A lot of the code is reusable, but I found it was quite a good opportunity just to kind of, refactor. And it's like the kind of, when developers love a chance to kind of rebuild from scratch, don't they? So you kind of you realize all the mistakes you made in the previous version. So it's quite nice to kind of have that clean slate again. So that's what I found. But yeah, it wasn't as daunting as I thought once I kind of got my head around it.
That's good to know. And maybe let's wrap it up with the final piece of work being shared this week. And Frans, I know that you've been involved in testing it basically with Stefan as well. I've been investigating more and more about API mode of Models Builder. And I know that you've tested it on Visual Studio 2019 and it wasn't working, right?
No, it wasn't working. It just was hanging on building the models on Visual Studio 2019 with Umbraco V8.
Yep.
It had something to do with asynchronous calls that were mandatory or something. Not sure of the specifics. I just knew I had a crazy workaround to build my models anyway, but it was a hassle. And luckily Stefan found time to fix it, and it all works fine right now. I'm one of the early adapters of V8.
Chief tester, your name was Chief Tester.
Visual Studio 2019, sorry. So I run into every problem there is right now, but it makes it easy to fix them before everybody jumps on the ship on V8.
Awesome work, and I'm literally installing it today and testing it on my project. So I will also be a tester. Hopefully it works.
Yeah,
And
it works great. When you get used to it, it's the best way to use Models Builder.
yeah, that's exactly what I've been discovering, because I was always using app data mode with some custom path, but Dave literally said to me that it's possible straight from Visual Studio, so you don't need to go to back office, which is a huge improvement in the whole process, because I was also diving between tabs and doing it.
And what you can also look for is the attributes to change the way models are built. You can leave out certain properties or add properties when models are generated, and that's, I think, only possible with the API. I don't think it's possible in any other way. So that's stuff you can do with the API mode, which is mandatory if you run more complex projects.
Solutions. Yeah, that's true. Cool, guys, and let's maybe focus on what's coming in the next weeks, because the Dutch community, for example, is very active in planning everything ahead in time, and I have some links being gathered. So you have a Dutch user group meetup on 26th. So next week. Plus, the Dutch community also scheduled the first barbecue, which will happen on September 6th, and everyone is welcome. And after seeing Richard's tweets about his awards on barbecues contest, I'm so disappointed that I cannot come, because I will be on holidays then. But yeah, everyone is invited, right? Plus, there is a virtual meetup on June 29th. So another great event on the map of Umbraco community. There is no details about exact agenda. It will be announced soon, but most likely it will be a lot of V8 and Codegarden talks once again. So that's good for everyone who didn't have opportunity to catch up those stuff on the local meetups and can join just virtually. And the last thing on my list was about another video creator, Mark Drake, who I plan to invite to another umbraCoffee, hopefully soon. He's working on releasing some tutorials on YouTube in the video format, and one of those will be about some configuration or reusable content strategies and stuff like that, which is very, very interesting. And I'm looking forward to see those videos, because it will definitely help a lot for anyone who is exploring Umbraco, especially in terms of new versions, new stuff, and everything new, basically.
Yeah. Or even if you're an experienced developer, I guess it's always interesting to see how other people do stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's all what we've prepared today. Guys, do you have anything else to add?
No.
A lot. First thing, second thing.
I was just going to say thanks for inviting me, Marcin. It's always great to talk to you. I'm going to be cracking on getting my package ready. It may take a while, because I do have a life outside of package developments, but it is coming.
Nice. Fingers crossed. And you, Frans, do you have anything else to?
Thanks for having me. It was really nice to be on umbraCoffee, and I have some stuff on my list I want to check out, but we are a little bit sparse in time right now. So when the time is there, I can dive into more code for issues and create some more pull requests, because it's a great process to be able to share finally. So that's really nice.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for joining me and replacing Callum, which is having a great time in Norway right now. It was a great week. Thanks for shouting and sharing your work. Basically, do more, and big high five for you, Rock, for everything what you are doing already. Hope to see more of that. And for everyone else who is watching, thanks for participating and being so active in the chats. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will be seeing each other next Friday.
Yay!
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the day and the weekend. Bye.